All right, Shalom with the I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West, 125th Street under Command General YAHANNA. Started in 1 West, Harlem, New York, 125th Street. And our job to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that according to the Bible, we are the real Jews, man. So again, you know what I mean? Make sure you watch 394 Lodge Road, B18, 5PW. Our classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 to 9. And also we got a podcast which is on the end, which is 9 till 12. Make sure you watch that as well. So again, man, gonna get some scriptures. This being scripture breakdown class. Gonna get scriptures on drugs, man. You know what I mean? The brother came here, I said he saw a man in the corner. A man in the corner was blazing it up, you know what I mean? Smoking it up. So we're gonna see what God thinks about that, man. You know what I mean? Exodus 22 and 18. Yeah, if you could, got that mic right there. See the big chair, got that mic, clip it up.
The book of Exodus. Salakia, the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
And look what the Bible says. The Bible says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. A witch is a drug dealer, man. So you think this Bible's some mythological book where witches cook in a big pot and cauldron and have a hat and long noses, but a witch is a drug dealer, man. Witches cook up a concoction to make you explore reality, man. To make you go into another world, man. And drug dealers do the exact same thing, man. They put crack in a pot, substances in a pot, cook it up to make you sniff, smoke, drink, inhale, whatever the case may be, and make you go into another realm, man. And God said, what? Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Now, I ain't telling no one to go kill anyone. But in our kingdom, guess what? Drug dealers weren't the man you look up to, man. Drug dealers was a man you killed, man.
That's right.
A drug dealer, you didn't care about his range and his gold chain and how much bricks you selling? You're a trap star. Nah, man. Drug dealers in our kingdom weren't no stars, man.
Right.
They would get killed, man. God said, do not suffer a witch to live. A witch is a drug dealer according to the Bible, man. And let me tell you something about drug dealers. I don't care what any rap song says. I don't care what anyone says. A drug dealer is disgusting, man. A man that makes your kid sell drugs for him, man. A man that kills black people so he can get paid, man. That is a witch. And God said, what? God ain't happy about drug dealers, man.
That's right.
Keep reading.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 19. Whosoever lieth with a beast shall surely be put to death.
And that's going to something else, man. Give me Ezekiel 8 and 17.
Khan, other one, Khan. The book of Ezekiel 8 and verse 17. Then he said unto me, hast thou seen this?
So this is the Lord speaking to Ezekiel, man. Read this whole chapter. It's beautiful, man, in your own time. And the Lord's going through the house of Israel and he's showing Ezekiel, look about people, man. Have you seen this? They're committing adultery. Have you seen this? They're murdering people. Have you seen this? They're in the churches. And this verse, the Lord talks about something that we do a lot, man. And this verse talks about us taking drugs, man. Keep reading.
Khan, another one, Khan. O son of man, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations.
And the Lord said, turn again. The Lord already showed Ezekiel how we're committing adultery, how we're committing abominations. And the Lord said, turn again, and you'll see even bigger abominations, man. And all these things the Lord showed Ezekiel is the things that black people do in 2021, man. Keep reading.
Khan, another one, Khan. Than these, verse 16. And he brought me unto the inner court of the Lord's house. And behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east.
And these men will serve in the sun, man. That's what you see on Sunday today. These men facing the east. Why? Because the sun rises in the east. We pray towards the east, not because we're praying towards the sun, because we're praying towards Jerusalem.
That's right.
Had we been in China, we'd be praying towards the west, man. Whatever direction you're located, that's where we pray. And these men are doing what you do today in Sunday service, man. Church, when do you go to church? On Sunday. Why do you go to church on Sunday? Because it's the worship of the sun, man. And this is what these men were doing. They turned their back to Jerusalem. When you turn your back on someone, I ain't dealing with you no more, man. We turn our back to the Lord. And guess what? we face towards Easter, man, and Christmas, man. We turn our back to the Lord, man, and we face towards drugs and adultery, man. That's what these men were doing.
That's right.
Keep reading.
And they, Khan, other one Khan, Salakia. And they worship the sun toward the east. Verse 17. Then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man?
They go, have you seen this? Look what they're doing, man. Look, that the Lord says to us, yo, have you seen what our people are doing? Go out there and change it, man. Have you not seen this? Keep reading.
Khan, other one Khan. Is it a light thing?
Is it a light thing? It's a little thing. When something's light, it means it's nothing, man. A man goes, yo, can I borrow your car? I go, that's a light thing, man. That's a black man's book, man. It's a light. Something's heavy, it's grievous. Oh, man, it's a heavy burden right there, man.
That's right.
Something's light, it's little, man. The Lord say it is something that I can make slide. It is a little thing that I can just make slide. Keep it in.
Khan, other one Khan. Is it a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here?
The Lord said, is it a light thing? Can I make the slide? That they're praying toward the east, the sun worshipping. Is it something that I could just let go like that? Keep it in.
Khan, other one Khan. For they have filled the land with the violence.
What verse you at?
17.
Go on, read that for me.
For they have filled the land with violence and have returned to provoke me to anger.
And the Lord said, we provoke him to anger, man. To provoke someone is when you know what is right, but you don't do it. You're provoking, you're winding them up. And that's what we do every time we go to a church, man. That's what we do every time we eat pork, man. Every time we sell drugs, man. We know it's wrong, but we do it anyway, man. Keep reading.
Khan, other one Khan. And lo, they put the branch to their nose.
And look at that, man. We put the branch to our nose, man. What does it mean to inhale it, man? We inhale that tobacco. What's tobacco? A branch, man. What is weed? A branch, man. What is cocaine? It's a plant, man. And what do? We inhale it, man. We breathe it in. We smoke it in, man. Right. And the Lord said, what? These are abominations that we do, man. And let me tell you something, man. You would never learn this in no Christian church, man. Black man, put the tambourine down for a second, man. I know it sounds cocky when we say the I.S.U.P.K is the home of the truth, but it's true, man. You won't learn this nowhere else but the I.S.U.P.K, man. I bet before today, you did not know weed smoking, cigarette smoking was in the Bible, man. But I can tell you what you did know. You did know about tambourines, man. And you did know about shaking and clapping. Right. And you did know John 3:16. And guess what? You didn't even know that. Slack, I'm taking over. Oh, Slack, I gotta move Slack.
That was an excellent big officer. A hand over that. Excellent breakdown. Yeah, I know. What the officer was getting into is heavy because with the Bible, it's the most sold book on the earth. And yet, so many people know little about the Bible. You imagine this. Your grandmom's had the Bible in her house for 60 years. And your grandmom can't even break down that verse right there, man. That's right. About putting the branch onto their nose, man. You know what I mean? So many people read past it and never understand what that means. The same way we get high now, our ancestors were getting high back then, man. You know, so many people think that what you see going on now, it never happened back then and it's new. And listen, everything we do is old, man.
That's right.
All of the drugs that we take as a race, it's old, man.
That's right.
All of the serving of other gods, it's old, man. All of the adultery and the things that we see today, it's old. Only new thing is we are doing it in a different time, man. That's what is only new about it. But guess what? It's the same old things, man. Man doesn't change, especially a man in the world. He don't change, man. People of whores back then, people of whores now, man. People of drugs back then, people of drugs now. It is nothing new, man. It is nothing new. Where was you again? Ezekiel 8 and 17. All right, temple. Okay, yeah. So let's get the next one. So now, the next verse is a verse that people like to use to try and justify, you know, weed and whatever the case may be. And it is ridiculous, man. How can someone read this verse that we are about to read and think that smoking is justified in the Bible, man? You know, in a moment, we even get the history. Smoking goes back thousands of years, and it was not an invention of the Israelites. The Indians smoked, the Babylonian smoked. And guess what? The Lord said that we are a holy a people, man. We're separate, meaning what? The Lord gave us laws so that we wouldn't do what they did. We wouldn't have the same ways of life that the other nations did. And that's why the Lord gave us laws, statutes, and commandments so that we don't be like them. Read that for me.
Isaiah 65:5, which say, stand by thyself, come not near me, for I am holier than thou.
So now let's get the context first. So now there's a people out there, they anger the Lord. They say, I'm holier than thou, come not and near me. Who does that sound like, man? That's Christians, man. So as I said before, in the Bible, there's nothing new. The same way we are now, back then with what's some of those old gods, Ashtaroth, Baal, Nebo. There was people that served those gods and thought they was holier than thou. Thought, I know it all. You can't tell me nothing. And guess what? That is the church today, man. You come up to them with them in the Bible. What do they always say? Look, man, you're young, man. I've been reading Isaiah a long time, man. When you was in your nappies, listen, man, I had the Bible. But here's the thing. You don't understand the Bible, man. You've had it, but you don't understand it. That's the problem, man. Having a Bible doesn't mean anything, man. If you ain't living it, if you ain't applying it, then what use is it, man? Read on.
These are a smoke in my nose.
And so now those people that think they are holier than thou, they are a smoke in my nose, not weed, not a K2, not whatever you have, man. Those people are a smoke in his nose. And even that is not a literal smoke in his nose, man. It means those people get the Lord angry, man. Now, how someone reads that and comes up with, you see, God gets high, man. You know what I mean? In God's nose, there was a smoke in his nose. Read it, man. It's talking about a people that think they are holier than thou. And they're a smoke in his nose. Like, it's sad that people want to get high that bad. They're not even reading the scriptures right, man. They want to get high so bad. They're looking for anything that can justify, smoke in the nose, just so that you can get high, man. How about you stop lying to yourself and go, you know what? It's not in the Bible, man. I've combed the Bible and it's not there. So if it's not there, how about I just start getting high, man? How about I just come in the I.S.U.P.K, man? How about I just do the right thing and start messing around, man?
So they say that smoke in my nose comes from a bull. When the bull's angry, you breathe that smoke.
That's right.
So that's where the scholars say it comes from.
That's right. So even a white man, you mean he doesn't have all the breakdowns of the Bible, but even he understood what the book of Isaiah was talking about. The smoke in my nose, it represents a bull. You know, when a bull's angry, you go, you know what I mean? Even on the old cartoons back in the day, when a bull was angry, what happened? The bull would exhale really heavy, and the smoke would come out of its nose. Even they know that, meaning in Isaiah, the smoke in my nose represents anger. It's got nothing to do with God getting higher and the weed smoke just slowly coming out of his nose, man. You know what I mean? If you read it, it's sad that we have to even break that down, man. That is self-explanatory in itself, but for someone that wants to get high, they will find it, man. One thing what General Hyman said, whatever you want in this book, if you search hard enough, you will find it, man. You want to get high, you will comb through the Bible and you will find it. Of course you're wrong, but you will find it, man. You'll find a scripture And the Lord said, I will set you on high. And you'll go, damn, you sit there. But when I get high, I'm floating, man. You see. So now, how is the Lord going to set me on high? When I'm high in it. Yeah, man. You will do that. You know what I mean? You will find it. And you're wrong. But if you search hard enough, you will find anything that you believe justifies you, man. And that's the problem. So what we're going to do in a moment. Yes, grab that one as well.
It reads, and in the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, was there a tree of life.
So now, you know what I mean? In the book of Revelations, this is John, man. And in the kingdom of heaven, he saw a tree of life, man. Now, the tree, it's not even a literal tree, by the way, as well. But you know what I mean? But again, a lot of Rastas, where are we?
22 and 2, sir.
Revelations 22 and 2. Now, you know, for those that follow the Rasta ideology, this is a verse they like to use to say that, you know what I mean, that weed is, that it is, that smoking weed, that is biblical. And this is the verse they like to use, Revelation 22 and 2. So let's read that.
Tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were the healing of the nations.
So that's where, you know, in the Rasta belief, what's the famous phrase? Heal the nations, man. That weed can heal the nations. Now, what's wrong with that, man? Weed's a plant. It's not a tree.
That's right.
Weed is a plant. It's not a tree, man. So if you believe that John literally saw a tree, it wasn't no hemp plant.
That's right.
It obviously wasn't that, because weed is, or hemp is a plant, man. So John didn't see what you thought he saw, man. It shows you that you're wrong, man. And that's sad. And you want to get high so much that you read in the Bible, the tree was the healing for the nations, and then you're smoking a plant. That in itself doesn't make sense, man. Nowhere in the Bible is smoking justified, man. Nowhere in the Bible are you allowed to smoke, man. That's right. Smoking is a sin in the Bible.
That's right.
And all throughout the Bible, what was the Lord trying to do? Separate us from these other nations, man. Separate us. Let's get Leviticus 18 and 1, man.
Before we move on, what's the relevance of the 12 manner of fruits? What are the 12 manner of fruits?
Oh, no. It's the constellations, but I believe it's probably the chapter before. It breaks down that with it breaks down where the tree of life is, and it's up in the sky. So where the Most High sits, there was the glass, or like the if you read it, it describes it, and basically it's when you look up and it's the adars. So basically, like with a tree of life, it's not a literal tree. It's just the constellations, basically. All right. So let's get Leviticus 18 and 1, man. Let's see why the Lord doesn't want us getting high. And what hurts is so many people read Leviticus 18 and 1, but they don't fully understand all what the Egyptians did, man. And many other nations. That's why we got great laws, man, to separate us from these nations.
Leviticus 18 and 1. And the Lord said to Moses, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, I am the Lord your God.
So now we're reading Leviticus 18 and 1, man. And why is the Lord saying, I am the Lord your God? Because God doesn't want us doing the other things that the nations did unto their gods, man. God's saying, listen, I'm your God. And for us to be his, we got rules and regulations, man.
That's right.
And let's find out what some of them are. Read on.
After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwell, shall ye not do?
And there you go, man. And let me blow your mind. Egyptians got high, man.
That's right.
Egyptians smoked marijuana.
That's right.
Egyptians smoked tobacco, man. And God's saying, after the doings of Egypt, you cannot do, man, along with many other things. But you can look up the history. Egyptians smoke drugs, man. And God's saying we can't do after the Egyptians. That's why you can't get high, man. Because God doesn't want us being Egyptian, man. We smoke is Egyptian, man. Tobacco smoke is Egyptian, man. Heroin, crack, any kind of drug, that's Egyptian, man. And there's even Egyptian history books where Egyptians were heavily on drugs, man. They was medicated heavily, and God doesn't want us being Egyptian, man.
That's right.
I will have to go into their history, but for sure, Egyptians were junkies, man. Egyptians love drugs, man, all throughout their history. So you got that for me?
It says the smoking of tobacco as well as various hallucinogenic drugs were used to achieve trances and to come into contact with the spirit world.
There you go. So this is ancient history right here, and people love those drugs because they believe it would make them go into the spiritual realm. So they believe, I get high, then I see my ancestors and whatever the case may be. And when that's what they believe it done. Now in this day and age, someone gets high just they had a bad day at work and all that. But back then, they done it for a religious reason, man. Just because you don't do it in that way now doesn't make it right, man. You are still doing that, a practice that they did, even though you don't know the ancient reason why, man. Slaki, brother, you had some. Someone had some.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, some people even say now when they smoke, it really opens their mind up and they're wiser than they was before they smoked.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. So even though a lot of people don't do it for that reason, some people do say that where when I smoke, I see my ancestors, man. You know what I mean? I'm going back to my Egyptian ancestors. And let me tell you something, it's nonsense, man. You ain't seen no ancestors, man. You're high out your mind, man. And you want to know something too? Smoking makes you weak, man. You want to know why? Because you don't want to face your reality, man.
That's right.
You get high because you want to escape what is in front of you, when that's weakness, man. If you want to be a fighter, then guess what? Whatever is what you believe is harming you, face it, man. Getting high, it won't make it go away, man. You got issues with the rent. We smoke ain't gonna make a bailiff just not show up at your front door, man. You got to pay that bailiff, man. You've had a bad day. Guess what? If you don't get your life right, you're gonna have a bad day tomorrow, man. You're gonna have a bad day next week, next month, next year. Getting high doesn't solve nothing, man. And it's a weakness. It makes it worse. Why? Because the money you could have used to fight against what is making you upset, you've blown it down the drain, man. You brought this 15 bag, and that 15 pounds could have helped pay the rent, man. And that's what we don't understand. Things like that, it's a weakness. It's not helping you relax. You don't want to fight, man. You don't want to fight. That's why you want to get high, man. And in the UPK, we're fighters in here, man. There's nothing we won't fight.
That's right.
We don't need to get high, man. If you face it, then guess what? You wouldn't need to get high. Why? Because the problem's solved, man. Reader.
Cannabis smoking was common in the Middle East before the arrival of tobacco, and was early uncommon social activity that centered around the type of water pipe called a hookah.
The hookah. So the hookah meaning the same one you see now. It's an ancient instrument for getting high, and also in the ancient times they smoked a cannabis first, then the tobacco. Now people think that the tobacco is fine and the weed, whoa, you're going far. But in ancient times, it was the other way around, man. And the hookah and All what you see now, people was doing it thousands of years ago, man. With them, the bong and the chalice and all that. That is old, man. It's old. You think you're doing something new, but guess what? History shows you it's old, man.
That's right.
History shows you you are not doing nothing new, man. Reader.
Smoking, especially after the introduction of tobacco, was an essential component of Muslim society and culture, and became integrated with important traditions such as weddings, funerals, and was exposed to architecture, clothing, literature, and poetry. Cannabis smoking was introduced to sub-Saharan Africa through Ethiopia and East Africa coast by either Indian or Arab traders in the 13th century.
And with the Egyptians, where are they located? In East Africa, man. So it's showing you that, listen, all throughout the East and throughout Africa, people was getting high, man. And God told us not to get high. God didn't want us being like them. All those nations, they was all upon the weed. They was, you know what I mean, doing all kind of drugs. But the Lord doesn't want us doing it, man. That's something we gotta understand, is that we can't do what they do, man. We are not like them. We are better than them, man. They need drugs. We got a living God, man, that's strong and alive, man. How about we serve him, man? Their God's dead, man. Their God's a piece of wood, some rock. And guess what? That God ain't helping them. They need to get high, man. We got a living God that can actually help us, man.
That's right.
So we don't need that weakness right there, man.
After East Indians brought it to Jamaica.
Is that on screen share? And also, just to let you in on another thing, man. You mean in the West Indies, East Indians brought, weed and the lux. So many of us think that, weed is a black thing. We think that dreadlocks is a black thing. And no, it's not, man. Dreadlocks trace back to the worship of an East Indian god, man. And they got high to that god as well, man. You know what I mean? And it's not good, man. When you're high, you don't want to do anything. And you know what I mean? It makes you lazy, man. And let me tell you something, man. You can't achieve nothing being lazy, man. You can't do nothing being lazy. Give me a Proverbs 6:1, I believe it is. All right, let's get Proverbs 6:1. That might not be it, actually. 1 second. Yeah, it is Proverbs 6:6. Actually, no, Proverbs 6:3. Start from there. Yeah.
Other one can't. The book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 3. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the land of thy friend, go humble thyself and make sure thy friend. Verse 4. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids.
So what is King Solomon talking about here, man? Laziness, man. Now, of course, this don't mean that you can't have a nap. It's saying that someone that just loves to nap, man. And let me tell you something, when you're a weed addict, you love your rest, man.
That's right.
You can't get a weed head up, man. Like come, man, with regards to this. Nah, man. I'm just high, man. And the Bible's saying, listen, man, you can't live like that. Yes, you do close your eyes, but after a while, you got to get up, man. And weed heads can't get up, man. Weed heads can't get up and do nothing, man. Forget about it, man. It's either what did they do? Weed, Xbox, sleep. Weed, Xbox, sleep. You know what I mean? And the Bible's saying you're not meant to be lazy, man. And that's what weed does to you, man. Just weed, Xbox, fast food, sleep, weed, Xbox. You know what I mean? That's the cycle. And the Bible's saying, don't do that unto your eyelids, man. Get up, man. Do something. Read on. Yo, which one? Just spray this, bro.
Khan, another one, Khan. Chapter 6, verse 5. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler.
So what's it talking about, man? Meaning, if you don't just love to sleep all day, you can deliver yourself from your enemy, man. Meaning, not just being some weed head in your bed. You can actually save yourself, man. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise.
Meaning, for this a lazy man, just look at the ants, man. And let me tell you something, ants ain't lazy, man. And you want to know why ants work so hard? Because they're not high, man.
That's right.
You mean you can watch any video online, ants work together, that's number one. And on top of that, ants work hard, man. If you're high all the time, listen, man, you got ants working harder than you, man. You got high and you're in your bed for 6 hours. Ants are doing more work than you are, man. Ants are achieving and doing all manner of things for the winter, and you ain't done nothing, man. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 7. Which having no guide, overseer, or ruler.
And there, man. And guess what? Ants don't have no guide. Believing an ant has the common sense that you gotta get up and do something, man. And that's what weed does, man. Weed makes you lazy, man.
That's right.
And in the Bible, it's saying, listen, man, you gotta get up and do something, man.
That's right.
And if you're addicted to drugs, tobacco, weed, whatever the case may be, listen, man, you ain't gonna do nothing, man. Even when you know you should, you're just too lazy to do it, man. Do you know how much shows I've watched and they're trying to find someone a job and they're that high, they can't even go to the interview, man.
Khan.
They got high last night and they're late for the interview, man. Or, they can't even job search because they're high out of their mind all the time, man.
Khan.
And the Bible's saying, look at ants, man. Ants just know that, listen, we got to do something, man. Ants have the common sense that, listen, winter's underway. Let's heap up what we got to do. Let's get what we got to get, man. And a human being, we can't do it. Why? Because of drugs, man. And don't let that be you, man. Don't let a drug stop you from doing what you got to do, man. Don't let weed smoke dominate your life to where you can't do something that you know you are meant to do because you're just high, man. I just can't get up, man. Don't let that be you, man. Read it. Yes.
So you saw what asked me the week, the market, rating of the microchip market.
Okay, we'll get that next after Proverbs. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 8. Provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest. Verse 9. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
There, man. And he's saying, listen, man, look at the ants, man. The ants are working hard. How long are you going to be in that bed, man? How long are you going to be high, not doing nothing, man? Read on.
Khan, other one, Khan. Verse 10. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep.
So now, what does that part mean? Meaning, you're trying to wake him up. I just need a little bit more, man. A little sleep, a little more slumber. Meaning, you're trying to help this person. And they're saying, not yet, man. Then now, next, find out what happens in the next verse. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 11. So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man.
And there you go, man. Then now you got lots of wants. Why? Because you never got up and done nothing, man. And your wants as an armed man. Does anyone know what that part is on about? As a armed man. As a thief, man. A thief wants everything. And you're that same way. Why? Because you didn't do nothing, man. You was high forever, man. And now you're like, shit, I got rent to pay. Rod, they want this, they want that. And if you wasn't high, you could have actually got up and done something, man. That's that. So I got a question on the mark of the beast. All right, let's get Revelations 13. Suck it. Is the fly to the round? All right.
13 and 1.
Yeah, start from verse 1. Revelations 13 and 1.
Start 16.
Yeah, start.
Revelations 13 and 16. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
All right, so first, we're going to read verse 16. Now, what do a lot of people think about this? The poor, the free, the bond. They make this seem like it's in the individuals. Now, what we're going to do in a moment, we're going to start from verse 1. And what you've been taught about this verse is a lie, man. The free and the bond, it means something totally different, man. But let's read on.
And that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of him of the name.
I got you. So many people use this to, basically justify what the world calls the mark of the beast, man, where they put a microchip in your right hand or in your head. Now, to show that it's not talking about that, you can research it. A microchip, it doesn't go in this part of your hand first and foremost. You know what I mean? With microchips, they don't go in your hand, man. Microchips get inserted here in this part of your arm, even here. No one puts a microchip in your hand. Microchips don't get inserted in your hand. That is nonsense.
So is this not a prophecy of the mark of the beast?
Yes, but not how you think it is. You know what I mean? In religion, they believe there's some one-man antichrist. He's come with a new world order, and that you gotta have this microchip, and if you don't, you can't eat, which I believe that's what you've heard. And that is not talking about that at all, man. And now, first off, already it's not talking about that because microchips don't go in your hand anyway. Microchips, they don't go in your head. No one inserts a microchip in the front part of your head. It is impossible. Microchips don't even go there. If a microchip is in your brain, it gets inserted from about this part here. So already, from what they say, they're wrong, because with the microchips, they don't even work like that. So already, you got to think, well, hang on. They're saying that a microchip in your right hand or in your head, but we know microchips don't go in you like that, man. Microchips go in this part of your arm here. You know what I mean? Atom the most. And if in your brain, from this part here, by the back of your neck. So already they're wrong. So now let's start from where we started.
Revelation 1 and 10.
All right. So yeah, let's get Revelations 1 and 10 first. Then we'll break down what the mark of the beast really is.
Revelations 1 and 10. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day.
And that's what you need, man. Meaning what John saw, it wasn't literal, man. He was in the spirit on the Lord's day. Meaning a lot of what he's seeing is not literal, man. It's a spiritual book, man. Meaning a lot of the visions he has, they represent something, man. They mean something. It's not a literal, you know what I mean, some mark going in your right hand and in your head, man. It's spiritual talk, man. So now so many people, they read so many other parts of the book. When Revelations 1 and 10, it sets the scene, man. John is in the spirit on the Lord's day, man. So meaning the vision that he's seeing, it's a spiritual thing, meaning it represents something else, man. It's hip talk. It's not literally seeing people with marks in their right hand and in their head. So before people jump to the rest of Revelations, take it back to Revelations 1, man, and verse 10 specifically, and it sets the scene. You got something else?
Deuteronomy 6-8.
All right. So now let's get another example of your hand and your head, man. Now, remember now, all the books of the Bible, who were they written by? Israelites, man. And now what people don't understand is there's a term called a cultural, a context. Does anyone know what that means? A cultural context.
So is it the context of someone, but according to their culture? Like, for instance, if you ask me, if you say to you, so what are you drinking today? And I go, yeah, no, if you, that's like, if you say to me, you want something to drink? I go, yeah. And you say, what? And I go, I drink anything. My anything is different from an Arab man's anything. An Arab man's a Muslim, that anything won't include alcohol, but me, it would. So when Paul says, all meat is clean, he's not talking about pork because he don't eat pork. But another man, it would. That creates a culture, his culture and the context.
And how they talk. So meaning, for them as a race, how do they talk? What do they mean? And the Bible is an Israelite book. Wouldn't it make sense to know the cultural context of the Israelites? When they talk about their right hand and their head, why do they use those terms? What does that mean? So let's find out in the book of Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy 6:5. And thou shalt love thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart.
So now we're talking about the laws, man. That you mean you love God with all your heart, all your soul, meaning what? Every part of you, man. And you keep this word. What words? The laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Read on.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. And thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
And when you rise up. So meaning, with these laws, make it be everything in your life, man. When you rise up, sit down with them, the kids. Meaning, make this law be all that you live for, man. But there's more. Reader.
And and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand.
Oh, so hang on now. With the law, do you literally bind it up on your hand?
After you do it.
That's right, man. Meaning, if you bind it up on your hand, meaning what? Remember the verses up above. Make it be all you do. Then you bind them on your hand, meaning what? Live it, man. These laws is what you do. Your hands represent your actions. Meaning, these laws, bind them on your hand, meaning do everything that is lawful, man. Read on.
And they shall be frontlets between thine eyes.
So what is between your eyes?
Forehead.
Your head, man. Like in Revelations, the right hand or your head, man. Meaning what? Make these laws be in your mind, man. That's what is between your eyes, man. Your head, meaning what? Make these laws be in your mind, man. Make it be all that you think about, man. Make these laws be all that you do. And this is not literal. No one reads Deuteronomy and goes, nah, man, that's some righteous mark of the beast right there. Everyone knows, no. Make these laws be all that you do and have it in between your eyes, meaning all that you think about, showing you what? That is the cultural context of the Israelites when they talk about your hand and your head. That listen, like, make it be all you think about and make it be all that you do, man. That is the cultural context of how Israelites talk. So in Revelations, it doesn't mean anything different, man. But let's break down a Revelations, man.
Like Ezekiel 9:4 as well.
Ezekiel 9:4, Most High in Christ.
Ezekiel 9:4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry.
There you go. So even in the time of Ezekiel, man, they didn't literally get a literal mark on their head, man. just like in the book of Deuteronomy, it's not literal, man. It's not literal. And if you don't believe me, even the white man knows it. You mean you read his a reference on the book of Ezekiel, he will even say it. Of course, we don't agree with everything, but even he knows that that mark in Ezekiel is not a literal mark, man. That mark that they receive on their head is not literal. So now, according to the cultural context of the Israelites, some things are hip talk, man. Meaning in your head, meaning all that you do, man.
That's right. So on the back of coach context, Israelites got a thing about the right hand, like Christ being the right hand of the Father. You know what I mean? So when your right hand is like your hand of power, like you salute with your right hand, shake hands with your right hand. You know what I mean? In the Bible, even I think Benjamin, son of the right.
That's right.
That's what it says right hand, because your right hand is your hand of favor.
Or what to say, yeah. So again, that's some more a cultural context right in there as well, man. And before many people jump to the book of Revelations, they don't get all of this. So by the time they get their microchips, what's it called? The RFID chip. And no, you've missed out so many other parts that you don't understand Revelations when you get there, man. Anything else?
Yeah, just show that the right hand was a slang in Israel that meant, hand of favor. The Psalms 121, and this is verse 5. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
So why in this Psalms right here is King David specifying that the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand, man? Why? Because among us, the right meant something, man. King David could have said just a shade over you, the shade on your left hand. But among us, that right side, that right hand, it means something. And there's loads of verses in the Bible where it always singles out your right hand, man. So that's some more cultural context right there.
If I may, even today, your brethren's called my right hand man. Like the guy the guy close to me. You know what I mean? Even people, like if you go off, people say, yeah, he went left. You know what I mean? But if you're on a good, people say, yeah, he's on the right hand side. Even to this day, people use that terminology.
There you go, man. So now when you go to Revelations, you got to keep all these things in mind. You know what I mean? We've been religious for hundreds of years as a race of people. And, we've never read a lot of these verses in the Bible as it is, man. Or having the understanding from the other verses in the Bible. So we back in Revelations now?
Kind of one concert.
All right, so let's get that then.
Revelations 13:1.
All right, so now to set the scenes, we're going to start from verse 1 about this beast. Reader.
And I stood upon the sea, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So now, what beast is this? In the book of Daniel's, it just calls it the great and a dreadful beast. In the book of Daniel's, all Daniel saw was a dreadful beast. But now John, he's describing the horns on the beast. He's describing the beast, while as Daniel, he said the beast was horrible, man. That's as far as he went. And what beast was this? The Roman Empire, man.
That's right.
And the horns represent like the first a place it got. Then the other horns represent like, where's it again? Luxembourg, France, Germany, England, etc. So it's breaking down the white man under the banner of Rome, and then the branches of Rome. Reader.
And upon his head, the name of blasphemies.
And now upon this beast's head, the name of blasphemies, man. What is blasphemies? Wicked lies, man. And what wicked lies does the white man say, man? Homosexuality is fine, man. It's your right to choose. Blasphemies, but claims that their laws are based on this book, man. If you go into the court, they have the Bible open, and meanwhile, don't follow none of it, man.
Right.
That's why this beast has blasphemies, because they claim that they're a country that follows Judaic laws, man. Why do you think they call it Judaic laws? Meaning they follow the laws of the Jews, man. But they don't. they say, well, okay, with the laws that we got, they are Judaic laws, meaning the laws found in the Bible. And England, America, wherever the oppressor is, he doesn't follow those Judaic laws. That's why on his head is the name of blasphemy, man. What they claim they represent, they don't represent it, man. Read on.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and had his feet with the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
So now, what is this talking about, man? The Roman Empire dissolved all of the previous empires. That's why today, what do we have? All of the customs of the empires before the Roman Empire. You know what I mean? You what some we got?
Oh, they
Easter. That's a Babylonian holiday. You mean that's the bear in it? That's the Babylonians.
That's right.
Then you got the a leopard, which was the Greek Empire. They got also things from that empire, and the Persians and the Medes. So meaning with them, they've got it all, man. All of the empires before them, they have also added it into their empire. A lot of the pagan holidays, they're ancient from those previous empires. Any more on that?
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the earth wondered after the beast.
So what's it talking about? This is talking about the Dark Ages, man. Meaning with Rome, at one point they was wounded, man. Why? Because we was ruling. You mean we was ruling, and the white man, he wasn't, man. Which is what the world calls the Dark Ages. And they was wounded, you know what I mean? King James, the Israelite, he was ruling. They was wounded, man. And all throughout history, there was us, and we was dominating the empire. Now, listen, don't get it mixed up. White people was alive. White people was around, but they wasn't in the higher class, man. For a span of time, we was, and the Beast Empire, it was wounded. Why? Because it's their empire, and they wasn't ruling, man. Read on. Sakari, you got something?
Yeah, just touching on something you just said. If they weren't the higher class, for that 1,000 years we ruled, is it fair to say that all the sovereignties were Hebrew Israelites?
Not all. Of course, white people were around. We was dominant. But
wouldn't you have had to be in a higher class to be sovereignty? For example, Henry VIII, King Richard III.
Yes, but though, do keep in mind, it's like now, of course, now the white man rules, but there are some of us where we are up there, but we're not as high as them. So don't think white people didn't exist in the Dark Ages. White people weren't around. White people was there, but we was the higher class.
Like today, you got like the white man rules everything, but you still have like little kings and chiefs of Africa, and nobodies, but they're still kings in their own community. That's it.
That's right, yeah.
Why do some Israelites and some of the camps push that they retreat into the caves?
Well, listen, you will have to ask them that, because that's a lie. In history, white people was around, man. Even though it was the Dark Ages, white people still was in England and in other parts, man. They didn't run to the caves. That's mysticism.
And this was part of the sovereign kingdom.
And it was around, yes. White people was around.
So kings and queens.
Yeah, and we did too.
Is it feasible to expect that maybe Henry VIII was an Edomite?
Well, okay, according to the history, you mean, and the I.S.U.P.K, we got references. He was a black man. Now, of course, you know what I mean? In the Dark Ages, everyone who was up there wasn't black. You mean, that's another lie that fake Israelite groups like to push. Everyone that was up there in the Dark Ages, not everyone was black. You know what I mean? You got some fake Israelite groups. Everyone's us, and that is a lie. You know what I mean? It's even like now, there are some people that they are excellent at what they do, but they're not us. And in Dark Ages, it was the same way. There was some people that done some great things, and it doesn't make them Israelites.
So Henry VIII was this, and Richard III.
Richard III, I'm not sure. I'll have to, you know what I mean, speak to a general regarding that. You know what I mean? Because obviously we don't want to spread false information, man. You know what I mean? In the UPK, you know what I mean, we verify everything. So I'm not gonna come here and say Richard III.
Well, because a lineage, Henry VIII came from Richard III, I do believe.
I got it. Well, again, I'll ask, and you know what I mean, and I'll get back to you if you're here next week on that. I got you. No sweat. Read on.
And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast?
So now, what time of history is this? The Renaissance, man. And believe me, with the white man, he came with vengeance, man. You know what I mean? They got all the Hamites, all of the Moors out of Sabine, and then what, man? They was dominating, man. Then they went to the Western world. You mean? And they were just killing and making money. And what did the world say? Who is like unto the beast, man? Like who's like them, man? The Spaniards, the Portuguese, the English, they was dominating the world, colonized India, colonized Africa. You know what I mean? Did so much, and the world's like, who's like them, man? It's like,
what were the Moors, Hamites?
Yeah, the Moors, they came from North Africa. They were basically, all right, with the Moors. Here's the easiest way to break it down: the same way you go to North Africa now, and there's Africans and they follow the Islamic faith. That's the Moors. It was Moors that were just following Islam back then. And they, you know what I mean? They had an army of them and they conquered Sabine, basically. That is the Moors. You know what I mean? So many people tried to make him seem more mysticized. But if you go to Africa now, what religion are they in? Islam. And the Moors were just Africans that were just following Islam. Easy as that. No sweat. Read on.
And who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies.
There, so now with this same beast, he was given a mouth speaking great things, man. What great things does this beast speak? If anyone would like to have a guess.
Laws like two men can marry, can have any god of your choice, freedom of choice. You know what I mean? You can abort your baby, it's your body, like all types of things like that.
There you go, man. And this beast, you know what I mean? It speaks great things, man. Things that the Bible clearly says no. He speaks against it. And when you oppose him, he makes you look bad. Yeah, but you don't want them to love each other. You're going to break their hearts. What's wrong with you? That's that mouth speaking great things, even though the Bible is contrary, man. Read on.
Brother Lion said God loves everyone. That's another blasphemy.
That's right. Yeah, man. That's on point as well.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
All right, so there you go. So now this is the key part, man. He blasphemed the name of God. It's not the literal name. What does your name mean? Your a reputation, man. And now what reputation does God have? These laws, statutes in this Bible, man. And he blasphemed that. He spoke evil against it, man.
God got a reputation of being like hard, and he said God soft. Like, you know, God got a reputation of loving one people. He changed that also. And the Most got a reputation of, drowning the whole world. He said, nah, God's all love. You can do what you want. Like, he just lied on the reputation of God. That's
right, man. That's some heavy examples there as well, man. And he blasphemed the angels. How do you do that? He painted them all white, man. Angels don't look like those Renaissance paintings that you see. That's how we blaspheme against the angels, man. Read on. Or was there another one?
What's more?
The name,
tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven.
And them that dwell in heaven, which will be the angels, of course.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
And now, with this beast, he made war with the saints. When did this beast make war with the saints, man? When it came to the West Indies, Americas, got us from West Africa, meaning he had the power to make war with us, man. And he did, man. It killed off the tribe of Gad, Ephraim, Issachar in Mexico, and then also got us from West Africa, man. He had power and made war against the saints. Who are the saints or the Israelites, man?
That's right.
Read on.
And to overcome them.
And he did what?
Overcome them.
And he overcame us, meaning what? In that war, he won, man. That's why we are under him right now, man. He overcame us in this fight. Read on.
And power was given to him over all kindreds.
All right. So now keep this part in mind, man. So now, as we read on through Revelations, he has power over all kindreds. Now, what does that mean? All races, man. A kindred is a race. And now this beast, aka the white man, he has power over all kindreds. Read on.
And tongues and nations.
And tongues and nations, meaning he rules everything. He's over all the races, all the languages, all the nationalities, man. Read on.
So in the back of that, they were saying that they're saying even with the internet, like they're saying all the man rules all tongues. They say the internet, they're saying 95% of the websites are English, when only like 50% of the world actually speak English and shit like that. They're saying.
Yeah, and that's right, man. But because the beast, English is mainly his language, he's basically forced the world to learn English. Because if so many websites are on the internet ain't written in their language, they are a force to learn English, man.
And if you travel as well, like we travel, you're gonna find someone that speaks English, broken English or whatever the case may be. But if you go, if someone from Thailand comes to England, no one's gonna speak his language. Like everyone's forced to speak his language.
There you go.
He's dominant.
And why? Because he has the power over all tongues, nations, kindreds. It's what you see now. Read on.
Come on, come. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb.
Your name ain't written in the book of life. You will worship the white man, man.
That's right.
You will worship this beast if the Lord ain't with you, man. If your name ain't in the book of life, you will worship the beast just like all the nations, the tongues, and the kindreds. Read on.
Come. Verse 9. If to get to the part.
Yeah. All right. Skip to the verse where we went to first. Revelation 13 and 16 was.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand.
All right. So now I want to see who was, reading along, man. So remember now, he has a mouth speaking blasphemies, lies. He rules everybody. So what is verse 16 talking about, man? Who is the all?
All the kindreds. Not individuals. But he said he rules kindreds, he rules families and nations. So the all, we talk about all the kindreds, not individuals.
Give that a hand, man. And you want to know why? Because in a religion, I'll explain what people like to do. They read verse 16 and try to individualize it. He made all small and great. When the all ain't talking about you individually, the all is all the nations, man. All the nations, small. So let's break it down. All the nations. So what nation is small?
Gambia.
Thailand, Burma. You mean them nations, they're not big, but guess what? They worship the white man, though.
That's right.
They worship the white man. You want to know how? They make him a lady boys out there for white men who actually go there, man.
That's right.
You mean they know that they're bringing the money there, and they make lady boys, they make the white boys molest young boys and girls. Why? Because they worship the beast, man. And when he's there, the one to make money off him, man. So he calls us all small and great. Who's great, man? What's great? Japan, China, Morocco, India, Russia. They want to be like the white man, man. Why? Because they're great, but still he has power over all of them, man. Read on.
Slack, and he causeth both small and great, rich and poor,
Rich and poor, So there's some nations that are rich, even if they're poor, they still worship this oppressor, man. Read on.
To receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
So now we broke down about your hand and your head. It's not a literal thing. So now remember about the beast. What did this beast do, man? Speak blasphemies. So what is the mark?
His philosophies and lies, religion and democracy.
Give that a hand, man. That according to what we are reading, that's his mark. Remember, blasphemies, lies, spoke against the Most High. So what is the mark? His mark meaning his blasphemies, his lies, meaning what? You have them in your mind, which is your head, and in your right hand, meaning you do it, man. You follow his way of life, you fight in his wars, you do everything for his cause, you do what he wants, man.
That's like it's safe to say that's why every country you go to, Jesus is white. Every country you go to, homosexuality is legal. Every country you go to, abortion is legal. Because everyone got them, all the countries, like the Bible says, got his mark in their forehead.
That is on point, man. This is what Revelations is talking about. We read from verse 1 till we made the point, and 16 is not talking about you individually going to the shop, and a day is gonna come where you can't buy no a Mars bar. Like, that's not the Bible, man. But we'll show you in the next verse, because I know someone's thinking the buy and the sell. I know, man. Listen, I've brought this down many times. It's nothing new, man. Read on.
Come. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name.
All right. So now, what man can't buy or sell, man?
The man that don't take the mark.
The man
country that don't take the mark.
The country that don't take the mark, man. So remember, the small, the great, the free and bond. If you don't have their mark, you can't buy or sell. Meaning, in your land, you might want apples, pineapples, cars. If you don't accept what they want you to, they will sanction you, man. And it happens today, man. In the West Indies, in Jamaica, we didn't accept homosexuality. And what did they do? They stopped Jamaica from selling bananas, man. They're like, listen, you don't take our mark. Listen, no bananas from this land ain't leaving nowhere. And of course, everyone doesn't want to go against them. So they're like, listen, if America don't want them, we don't want them. To what happened now, man? Now Jamaica accepts homosexuality, man. Jamaica now, you remember the songs back in the day? All of them was anti-homo. I ain't heard one of them songs yet, man. Now they don't even make them songs. Why? Because they had to take the mark of the beast, man.
That's right. So also I believe Jamaica used to make I don't believe they used to make like kill gay songs and whatnot. And the country started from buying and selling. They said all your artists can't get visas to our country. And Jamaica makes money off like tourism and their artists flying. And then for them to buy and sell or make money again, get their visa back, that's sign a contract saying I will make no more homosexual lyrics. Like that's the ban they put on them.
That's right, man. So in the Bible it says to buy and sell, but in the modern term, let's find out what this is, man.
Embargo, an official ban on trade.
On what?
On trade.
On trade. That's the buying and the selling right there, man. Meaning with John in the vision is like, yo, if you don't take their mark, you can't do any trade, man. It's like literally to have the world under them, man. This beast, as he rules everyone, if you don't accept his way, then he stops you from doing any trade. And it happens today. There's many countries out there where they don't agree with the American way of life, and they are sanctioned, man.
That's right.
You can't do any business with them. Every other country round about them, they're like, listen, we can't mess with you. If America, England, if they don't want anything to do with you, then guess what? We can't neither, man. And they're left to drive some old cars, man.
So Cuba don't like America, and they don't believe in their democracy. If you go Cuba today, they're driving old cars because no one can import new Fords, new Vauxhalls, new anything, and they're driving old cars. They get like old parts and put it together and so forth. And that's why criminals go to Cuba. That's the one place that the white man can't get him. But the downside is no one does trade with them, and it's like third world country.
There you go. That is a heavy example. They're driving some old Hondas, man, that you ain't seen in years, man. When I was like 6 years old, them Hondas, and they just keep revamping them, refixing them because they're sanctioned. America don't mess with them. So now they're forced to revamp old cars and, you know what I mean, new engine, new this, you know what I mean? Why? Because they won't take the mark of the beast, man.
An official ban on trade or commercial activity with a particular country.
With a particular country. And in the vision, that's what John saw, man. Of course, we call it an embargo now. But of course, you know what I mean? John, in the vision, is breaking it down best he can. He's like, damn, like if you don't take that mark, you can't buy or sell, man. Which would be today an embargo. You stop a trade of a country. You're like, listen, you don't want my way of life. You don't accept what we want you to. Well, listen, we can't do any business with you, man. Any trade, we can't do it with you. And now that is the mark of the beast right there. Not no microchip in your right hand or in your head. The mark of the beast is accepting the philosophies of the white man, man.
That's right.
And if your name is in the book of life, you won't do it, man. Anything else?
So I want to see the no. Look at something else.
Oh, that's it. All right, no sweat. So for the person online, if that answers Revelations 13 about the mark of the beast, give me a con, give me a yeah, give me something, so I know that you understand it. While we're there, we might as well read verse 18 because let's finish up.
That's the cars in Cuba because of the sanction.
And look, man, them cars, they're from 1959, man. Because they don't want to accept the mark of the beast, they are forced to still be driving cars from 1959, man.
It says of cars imported since 1959, Cuban-made ladders are the most common car. You see these small boxy cars everywhere you go. More recently, Chinese Geelys and Citroens and Nissans have entered the scene. Yeah,
Yeah, man, and those some old cars, man. You mean them cars you watch on those old gangster films in America, man, and that's what they're forced to have because they won't accept, as a whole, the mark of the beast, man. And that's what the Bible is talking about, man. Not no microchip. Buying and selling ain't you individually. It's nations, man. Rich, poor, free, bond. You don't have that mark, they will sanction you, man. You know what I mean? The day ain't gonna come where you can't go to the shop and buy whatever you want. It's talking about nations, man, countries. It's got power over you. And if you don't accept his rules, then you get a sanction, man. You can't buy and sell. That's what the mark of the beast is, man. And also, what's the beast? Rome. And the extension of Rome, which became England and etc.
So Israelites haven't got the correct understanding of Revelation 13 and 16, are waiting for this to occur, waiting for this prophecy. It's already taken place.
It's happening.
It's been taking place for decades.
And also too, remember what we read about with the beast? He made war with the saints, meaning the beast has been working. The beast is doing what it's doing, and they're waiting on one specific point where it's happening right now, man.
Because we're sitting around waiting for this prophecy to come to fruition.
And it's been happening, man. You got something.
So would you say a brother in church got the mark of the beast?
Absolutely, because with the beast, you are following his religion, man. So if you're in the church, you have the mark of the beast, man. The Catholic Church, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah Witness, Pentecostal, whatever, you have the mark of the beast. You accept his philosophies, man. You accept his religion as you mean that it's right. His religion is going to lead you to the Lord, man. So yes, absolutely, man. If you're in their religions, you have the mark of the beast, man.
Sorry, so so you got some people that trying to dodge a microchip, meanwhile they're smoking weed and whatnot. Is that part of the plan, like to have man sidetracked?
Yeah, that's right, man. Why? Because, all right, this is one thing I like about here. We don't fantasize. We are doers in here. In religion, they have you just waiting around like, one day. Listen, in the UPK, we look at a day like it's today, man. We deal with everything now. While as in religion, you're so occupied on one day that's gonna happen. In the UPK, we make things happen now, man. We live righteous now. Why? Because we know that with Christ, He's coming back, man. We have a spirit of now. In religion, it's tomorrow. One day, wait on that microchip, man. One day, wait on that one man antichrist. And guess what? You're not getting ready now, man. You ain't following the commandments now, man. You ain't fixing blacks and Hispanics now. And that's the problem. Religion makes you fantasize and go, one day. I'm not doing it now, but one day I will. But listen, that day is now, man. The beast made war with the saints ages ago, man. People got the mark of the beast, or people had the mark of the beast ages ago, man. And that's why you got to get right now, man. Don't be gazing on one day, you know what I mean? A day's gonna come, I'm not gonna buy and sell. And you know what so many people do? They buy all these things, man. All these cars, tents, caravans. And let me tell you something. If you got the mark of the beast, those things ain't going to help you anyway, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? In my house, I've got all these beans, baked beans. Look, man, if you don't serve the Lord, you're gonna die before you open one can of those baked beans, man.
That's right.
Okay.
So I say a lot of the people that push this, they've never left the country. You know what I mean? Because did they read the Bible from a man in England or a man in America? Like if you go to some of these countries, they can just about afford food. Their country can't afford to produce 10 million microchips and pay people to program them, then pay people to inject them as well. They watch too much movies. Remember, the scripture goes, all should have the mark of the beast. So if it's a chip, then even a homeless man will have it. People in the rainforest with a plate in their lip, they should have it. It's just ridiculous. It don't make sense. The country could just about afford money for a COVID vaccine, man. They can't even, the country's broke. How are they gonna? If you've been to Jamaica and so forth, they don't even have cash machines, man. So lucky, like man are selling food on the street still. Like some of these countries ain't developed. So how would they get microchips for the whole world? Like to produce them is one thing, then program them, then pay people to inject them. It sounds good on the surface, but it's not
realistic.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic. And also, let me blow your mind. England is broke, man. All of the COVID jabs, all of its investments. Listen, if they was to ever do something like that, England will fall flat, man. Along with many countries, to do something like that is expensive, man. So first you gotta make the chip, then you gotta sort out something to inject everyone as well. And listen, there's some countries out there, they don't have those resources. They just don't have it, man. Jamaica, forget about it, man. You know what I mean? Some parts of Jamaica don't even have an not taking a piss, don't have an a cash machine. So now you don't have one of those, but all of a sudden everyone's gonna get microchips now, man. It's not even logical.
So some of these poor countries don't have, self-serve in it. What's it called, self-serve?
Self-serve.
So how they gonna get a reader to read a chip everywhere you go? And some of these countries are the straight bush. Like they ain't got cameras, let alone card readers. What's it called? Chip readers gonna read your chip. And that. It just sounds good on the surface, but it's from an ignorant person that's never left their country, man. They've been in America their whole life, or been in England. They've been in a country where it's possible, but they ain't left. And if it is a chip, then it ain't for now. Some of these countries got a way to go. So lucky, like I've been some of these countries. So lucky, sir.
Nah, and also too, have this in mind. It's true. And also too, have this in mind. In the UK, they turn some of the speed cameras off because they can't even afford them. England turns a lot of them off. A lot of them that you see now. I'm not telling you to ignore them, but a lot of those speed cameras you see, England has actually switched them off because the people that watch them, they can't even afford to even pay their wages. So a lot of those cameras you see, they're duds because they can't even afford that person's wage who is monitoring it. And then all of a sudden, all of England's gonna have microchips when they can't even afford a speed cameraman's wage, man. It's only on for a year, then eventually the camera's off. Like, nah, just for a get about it. England ain't even got that kind of money. let alone money for microchips and to inject everyone. When they're turning speed cameras off, man, you're in the M-way, the cameras only go so far. Why? Because they can't afford cameras all the way down the M-way, man. You drive on the M6 only for so far, then the rest is just road. And then you can blow and do your 100 miles an hour, man. Why? Because there's no cameras there. Because they can't afford it. All the electrics, all of the wiring to go underground to, and all that stuff, that costs money. Even the labor, England can't afford that. So believe me, microchips ain't England's concern, man. They can't get cameras all along the M6, M54, M50. Loads of those places got no cameras and they want it, let alone microchips. So come on, man. As what the officer said, a lot of people read the Bible and think about where they are and go, it can happen there. But there are some places in the world it wouldn't happen. Even in England, if you knew how things run, you would know it's not going to happen. It's not happening, man. And that's the thing, man. You know what I mean? Shake the internet off you. You know what I mean? You can't learn the truth through YouTube, man. You know what I mean? To learn the truth, you gotta actually learn from a man of God, man. You actually gotta be here, ask questions. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can get online. And what happens is people just go online and don't research. And then come be a mark of the beast in your hand from what YouTube clips, man. Someone edited a video at home. Do you know the mark of the beast is the microchip? And then one slide and another. And you know what I mean? And you believe it from what you saw, man. Not from what you read. Not from books that you read. Just from watching videos on YouTube, man. And that's the problem, man. You know what I mean? All right, let's drop that. Let's get at Jeremiah 3 and 50. No. 1 second. Now let's get a Numbers 23 and 23. You can, yes, like.
The book of Numbers, chapter 23, verse 3.
No, sorry. It's Numbers at 23 and verse 23 as well.
Salakia. Khan, other one Khan. The book of Numbers, chapter 23, verse 23. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel.
Meaning what, man? There's nothing that can stop us, man. No microchip can't stop you. You're telling me the Lord who sees all, and you're telling me it's a chip that separates you from God. You're telling me it's a microchip that separates you from serving God. When the Bible says no enchantment against us, man, no divination, and you believe a microchip can stop you from serving God, can stop you from being saved from the Most High.
Khan.
That is nonsense, man. You serve God and you believe a man-made chip can stop you from serving God. So hang on out. You believe that, you know, God runs everything, and a man-made chip can stop you from God. A man-made chip can go, you know, God, I can't save that man. He's got a microchip in him. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? You know what? Give me Isaiah 59 and 1. Isaiah 59 and 1, man.
Khan, other one Khan. The book of Isaiah, chapter 59, verse
1.
Verse 1. Salakia. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save.
So what is the Lord saying? Meaning, his hand ain't short that he can't save. What does it mean by his hand short? Look at the analogy. Imagine someone's hanging on for life and your hand's short, like you can't reach him. God's saying, my hand ain't short that it can't save, meaning the Lord can actually save us. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear.
And what does that mean? Meaning his ears shut, man, heavy. It doesn't mean his ear weighs a lot. You know what I mean? It means that his ears are dull, like it can't hear us. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 2. But your iniquities have separated between you and your
God.
power.
But your what?
And your power.
And there, man, but the point being is, but your iniquities have separated you from your God, man. Not no microchip. It's how we live that separates us from God, man. Not no RFID chip.
Khan.
God don't hear you if you're a sinner, man. What separates man and God is sin, man. Not no microchip. And we're reading it right here. God saying that it's our iniquities, man.
That's right.
It's the sins that we do. It's how we live. And if we don't follow these laws, we get separated from God, man. It's not a microchip.
Right.
Microchips don't separate you from God. It's iniquity, man.
Khan.
And it's sad, man. You got people afraid of microchips, man. Well, let me tell you something. In your phone, a microchip is in that phone, man. With the a SIM card you've got, that's a microchip, man. In so many devices we use, there's microchips all up in them, and you're not afraid of them. But guess what? For some reason, when you believe a verse in the Bible, the microchip, well, listen, man, I want you to throw that phone in the bin, man. If you're afraid of microchips so much, dash that phone in the bin, man. Any device that you got that has a micro chip in it, get rid of it, man. But guess what? You don't do it because you know better, man. Because you know better. And then now you try to attach that to the Bible and it's not there, man.
That's right.
Read that one more time.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 2. But your iniquities have separated between you and your power, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear.
And there you go, man. God doesn't hear us. Why? Because of our sins, man. God ain't gonna reject you over a microchip, man.
That's right.
And you know how ridiculous that is? And I'll explain why. All throughout the Bible, what is the issue that we as the Israelites have always had?
Throughout
all the Bible, what is the problem that God has always had with us?
keeping the laws.
Keeping the law. So all throughout the Bible, sin is the issue. Then now in the last book of the Bible, it's a microchip. So all throughout the Bible, God had a problem with sin. God had an issue with sin. But then in Revelation 13, it's not sin no more. It's a microchip. All throughout the Bible, hearken unto my laws. Here, here, don't learn the way of the heathen. Don't sin. Your iniquities, you sin. Your fathers have sinned. You have sinned. And now all of a sudden, sin ain't the problem. It's a microchip.
That's right.
That don't even make sense, man. But all throughout the Bible, what was the problem God had with us? Sin, not microchips. God had a problem with our iniquities. Microchips had nothing to do with it, man. Read on in Isaiah 59 and 3.
Khan, another one, Khan. Verse 3. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity.
And there you go, man. That's what separated us from God, man. Our hands being defiled with blood, man. Killing each other just like now, man.
That's right.
You mean committing abortions just like now, man. Our hands were defiled with blood. What's the last part? And your fingers with iniquity. Meaning what? We did sin, man. We sinned, and that's what separated us from God, man. Not no microchip. Read on.
Khan, another one, Khan. Your lips have spoken lies, your tongue with muttered perverseness.
And there you go. And now, what are all these things in the Bible? Sins, man.
That's right.
All these things what Isaiah is referencing in the law, these are sins. This is what separates you from God. Sin, not a microchip, man.
Right.
Not no RFID chip, man. A chip is man-made. So you're telling me a man-made device stops you from, so a man-made device divides you from God. So now the Lord can't work with you because they made a microchip, man. Even though the Lord made man, their device stops me. You mean their device stops the Lord from dealing with you? That's ridiculous, man. And it's sad that while you are focused on that, you don't focus on yourself, man. You don't focus on the real reason why you are separated from the Lord, man. You are separated from the Lord because of sin. And meanwhile, you think it's going to be a microchip, man. Yeah, good.
It's Isaiah 59 and 2. So when it reads Isaiah 59 and
we was there.
oh, you was there already? Oh, sorry, sir.
We was in the third verse.
I thought so. Sorry, I
Didn't
thought
catch.
so.
Nah, no sweat. But the point being is, sin is what separates you from God, man. And while you're waiting on a microchip, you're not doing the right thing, man. Which is one thing you never want to do, man. Always focus on what the Bible says, man. All those things, they're not biblical.
It's like I said, like the breakdown, like what you just done was like precept upon precept, line upon line. Like I've noticed these people that push a microchip never got a precept, never got a scripture to back up. I've never heard them put a scripture about a right hand or forehead or nothing. They say yeah. That's they read that. That's a chip. Boom, shut the book. When to break the Bible down, you need a precept, at least one. They got none, sir, and they make out like, oh yeah, we got the truth, and not one precept.
There you go. You can't just isolate one verse in the Bible and go, that means that, man. Like for those online, what we did what is in the Bible, line upon line, here a little, there a little. They just read a revelation. See it there in your right hand over in your head. In the Greek, it's an etching of the again, it's the word charagma. You know, see, I know what it means, and not realizing that, yes, in the definition, it's an etching of the skin, but it's not literal. It's just a mark, meaning a brand. Really, in its right definition, it's a brand. Meaning, if you don't have the white man's brand, you can't buy or sell, man. That is it in its easier form.
Tell me if this is a ridiculous question, but how did these camps go so far off when they started in One West Doctrine?
Okay.
How did they end up breaking it down, breaking the simple precept like that down? So, all
right. There is a verse in the Bible about it that once you leave the house of the Lord, listen, man, you know what I mean? You're just open game. And now what happens? So many of them think, you know, they was right, but I don't think they're right on everything. And before you know it, they end up all muddled up in some new religion. Let's get Proverbs 18 and 1, man. Huh? I got it. No, sir.
Proverbs 18 and 1. Through desire, a man having separated himself.
So there you go now. You got a man, he leaves the I.S.U.P.K. He's like, I'm separating myself, man. You lot are heretics. You lot don't know the Bible. And that's the problem. Everyone wants to be wise. And through their desire, what do? They separate themselves, man. I'm going to start up my camp. We're going to be the Lions of Judah camp, man. We're going to be the We Got the Truth camp. You know what I mean? And what's We Got the Truth? WEGT. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's so many acronyms out there. You know what I mean? We're going to be all Israel marching to Zion camp, man. And guess what? These men, it was men that they separated themselves. They had this desire that, you know, they were something great. And so many of them, that's what they think. You know what I mean? Now, when you watch them online, they try to appear like they're humble. Like, listen, I just want to wake up Israel. But let me tell you something. Those men are some arrogant men, man.
That's right.
Subconsciously, they're arrogant. They think, listen, you know what I mean? Yes, I learned from you, but I'm going to elevate that. And what do? They separate themselves. Read on.
Seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom.
And that's what they do. They seek and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Meaning once they leave here, they mess with all wisdom. Once they leave here, Africans, the Israelites, the Ashantis, Igbos. You see, I read this book, and you know, with Ashan, with Ashanti, it's Ashan in Jerusalem. And you know, you guess what? This is it right here. People that intermeddle with all wisdom, once they leave here, they learn everything. They learn everything. And they even learn the mark of the beast is a microchip, man. Why? Because they intermeddle with all wisdom, meaning once they leave here, once they separate themselves, they learn off everybody. They learn off YouTube and, you know what I mean, what's the guy, Alex Jones? You know what I mean? They're on Alex Jones channels, New World Order, Illuminati. You know, that's what happens when you leave the truth. You leave it and you learn everything.
1 John 2:19. They went out from us, but they were not of us.
There you go, man. They went out from us, but they was not of us. How do you know they're not of us? Because they wouldn't have left, man.
That's right.
If you're of us, you remain. It's like you're family, you're of them, and you stay with that family. Why? Because you're of them. People leave because they're not of us, man. Inside them, they had religion in them, Christianity, Alex Jones, Illuminati, and in here, we don't entertain that. And eventually, they're like, nah, man, they gotta be wrong. They gotta be wrong, man. The New World Order, that has to be right, man. And then what happens? They got to come out from us, man. Read on.
They went out from us, but they were not of us.
Mm-hmm.
For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us.
There's some meaning what? If they was of us, they would have remained, man. They would be here till this day. And that's why when someone leaves, don't feel bad. Always have in mind that, well, this person was not of us. We can't have someone with us that is not of us. That hinders us. You know what I mean? You got to be in here, believing the truth, acknowledging the truth. You know what I mean? You can't be here like, yes, but no. Now, again, if you're a new in here, you have to learn. So no one ain't saying you must agree with everything. You ask questions, we break it down. But for a man that claims, you know what I mean, I'm One West, I'm UPK. If you leave deep down, you wasn't of us, man. Subconsciously, that religious root was in you and you never got rid of it, man. Alex Jones, it was in you still, man. You're like, you know what I mean? You're watching the classes here, but you was online watching him like, nah, man. There's got to be a New World Order, man. The Illuminati, man. The Rothschilds got to be doing something, man. Nah, man. And eventually, that root, it grows in you to what? You have to leave, man. Read on.
So Matthew 12:30. He that is not with me is against me.
There you go, man. That is simple. With Christ, he said it to the scribes and the Pharisees back then, man. If you're not with him, you are against him. And you know, you got so many fake Israelite groups out there. We're not with you, but we're teaching Christ, man. But listen, if you believe in the Bible, Christ said, if you're not with him, you are against him, man. You can't set up your own camp. You can't do what you want to do. That's ridiculous, man. I mean, all throughout life, you know that you need to be where it's at, man. You need to be with the originator. You can't go, you know what? I want to be an what's the name job? A mechanic. You can't, you know what I mean, go, I want to learn it, but I don't want to go to him. Well, listen, that man's the mechanic, man. You want to learn to fix that car, you need to go to him, man. You can't go, well, I'm not learning off you, but I'm doing something like it. That's ridiculous. No one ain't gonna come to you to make you fix their car. Like, nah, you didn't learn under him. And likewise in here, man, you got to be in the I.S.U.P.K to learn the Bible, man. You got to be in there to understand the Bible. You can't do it on your own. Or that's a myth, like anything in life. You got to learn from someone who is qualified, man.
That's right.
You got to learn from someone who has the accolades.
That's right.
You can't go, well, I'm not with you, but I'm doing my thing. That's ridiculous, man. You can't get a mechanic job and you ain't got the papers. They be like, yeah, but I can do it though. I've been doing it. They're like, well, listen, you can say what you like. I ain't seen no NVQ level 1, level 2, no apprenticeship. I ain't seen nothing, man. And likewise, to even be a prophet of the Lord, you gotta have that time in too, man. You gotta be in the UPK, do those 90 days, get your name, become a trooper, become an officer, then you are qualified to be a man of the Lord, man.
That's right.
And guess what? Life shows you that. Like in any occupation, you gotta have time served, man. It's life. But for some reason, when it comes to the Bible and God, you don't have to. If we know it on a carnal basis, how much more with the Lord, man? Reader.
And he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad.
And if you don't gather with Christ, you scattered abroad, man. Meaning you was causing division, man. And that's what these camps do, man. Why? Because they're not teaching the same thing. They are dividing Israel. They think they're doing good, but you're not, man. You mean you're out there teaching heresies, man. Things that are not biblical, and that's how you scatter abroad, man. Any more on that?
I think one more about people that thought they did the Lord in Acts.
Yeah, let's grab that one as well.
Acts 19 and 13. Then certain of the vagabond Jews.
So now, what is a vagabond, man? Does anyone know what a vagabond is?
In like a man that don't have a set address, like a wanderer.
Like, I'll look it.
Like a bum, like. Yeah, pretty sure Jim Hyman goes when he goes, Cain's like a vagabond. He goes, he ain't got a culture of his own. He's wandering from land to land.
Okay,
I believe so.
Okay, you got the same thing. So now there was vagabond Jews, man. And why is this verse such a big thing? Because what do people like to say today? You mean we're all from one seed, man. You got your camp, I got mine. We're all Israelites. The Bible says there's vagabond Jews, man. Meaning not every Jew is good. Not every Jew has the true understanding of God, because the Bible calls these Jews vagabond Jews, meaning they did not have the a truth like Paul, like John. You got
so you say Michael calling vagabonds like these was any man off the street, man. They didn't go for the proper training and proper ranks and the proper way to be a priest. They're just any man, just any Tom, Dick, and Harry that thinks he can do the work of God.
There you go. There you go. And what's funny is no one reads that verse and goes, "Is that me? Am I trying to do the work of the Lord in the vagabond way, or have I done the right thing, man? Have I come to One West, man? You know what I mean? Have I done my time? Am I qualified?" Instead, some people want to be a vagabond, man. They want to just, you know what I mean, do it as they think. Reader.
Took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits in the name of Yahushua.
There, so now remember now, these men ain't with Peter, Luke, John, and they took it upon themselves, man, to call those that had demons upon them and to cast them out in the name of Yahushua. Listen, they're not qualified to do that job. and let's find out what happened, man.
So I said, what? It said in the name of Yahushua. But the only people teaching Yahushua was Peter, Paul, Luke, and John.
There you go.
So these men trying to do work that wasn't given to them.
That's right, man. They're trying to do work that they're not qualified for, man. Read on.
Saying, we adjure you by Jesus whom Paul preacheth.
And now there you go. They didn't say who we a preacher, Paul. So they know that really they're not qualified to even do this job, man. Or why would you mention Paul? Reader.
And there were 7 sons of Sceva, a Jew, the chief priest, which did so. And the evil spirit answered and said, Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are ye?
Imagine that, man. With the demon that was in the man, he's like, who are you, man? I know of Yahushua, Paul, but you know what I mean? You, who are you, man? Why? Because these men weren't qualified, man. There was vagabond Jews trying to do the work of the Lord, and it wasn't sent, man. Reader.
And the man in whom the evil spirit was leaped on them and overcame them.
So meaning he leapt on them and he overcame them, meaning what? In the fight, he beat them, man. If you overcome someone, meaning you're the winner, man. The man with the demon broke them up, man. A reader.
So was that the same as like going to camp and trying to like teach drug addicts and getting beat up by one?
There you go. I was gonna get to that next, man. You know what I mean? The Lord shows you who he's with. And you know what I mean? Again, even though I'm talking about this, I'm not laughing at them. I'm gonna keep it real. Some of them camps, some people get beat up, and that happens because they're not sent, man. They ain't done it the right way. They're trying to do it like the vagabond Jews. And guess what? The people that they're around at that camp with the demons in them, they overcome them, man. They overcome them, and they're getting beat up and ran off corners and, you know what I mean, all manner of things. And you know what I mean? I don't laugh at them because, you know what I mean, I don't want to see no one get hurt. But you got to do it the right way, man. If you want to be a priest of the Lord, you got to do it the right way. Let me tell you something, man. These doors are open, man.
That's right.
These doors are open. We got a classes running all week, man. Do it the right way, or you do it the wrong way, and the demons that are in someone, they're going to overcome you, man. You're going to be at camp, and you're not educated in what to say. You know what I mean? You're not educated in how to do it. And a man or a woman who has some demons in them, they're going to overcome you, man.
That's right.
Any more on that?
And prevailed against them so that they fled out the house naked and wounded.
And guess what? Those men were naked and wounded, meaning with that demon, ripped their garments off him, wounded them, gave him some body shots and some, you know, they're all wounded and beat up, man. And that happens. Why? Because they were trying to do a job that they wasn't sent to do, man. These men tried to do a job that they wasn't qualified or trained to do, man.
That's right.
So that's the class, man.
That's the class. Give it up, give it, Captain Ahad. Announcements. Salakia. And this is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. Where the I.S.U.P.K started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will call each other and will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3 and 8 to 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest fund, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation is first fruits. Or Akyam, check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and headscarf. And with that, I Madiam, just me to stand. Men of Israel, gonna give the teacher one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I Madam Shabbat, I Madiam, Barak. Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai Bakatah.
Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai Barake.
Yad Jamata means hand down, and Sa means turn. Sisters I Madiam means stand. Gotta give one care suit to the sisters, men of Israel. I Madam Shabbat. I Badim. Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatha Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yad Jamata. Class dismissed.